Had the city lost this case, well, the Trespass Act wouldn't be valid anymore, and what you see in the parks today would be a mere prelude to what would be, oh, I don't know, the kind of situation you have with tent cities in such sanctuary cities as Los Angeles, Portland, and Seattle. So thankfully, some sanity from a court that.
Yeah, another great victory for the upper class. Oof, a rare win for the rich. Damn, they've had a hard go of it, but yeah, no, finally, something's finally going in their favor. So that's good.
Whether it's girls screaming after Trump is sworn in, or the character affectionately known as Trigglypuff, we've all seen our share of triggering over the last few years, and it seems as though Disney has reached their limit. Starting immediately, Disney Plus subscribers will see racial trigger warnings on plenty of their content on the menu screens. Nothing is safe, not Peter Pan, not Jungle Book, even the cats are racist now. As part of our ongoing commitment to diversity and inclusion, we are in the process of reviewing our library and adding advisories to content that include negative depictions or mistreatment of people or cultures. Now, some of these warnings actually make sense, and some of them are very silly, as you can imagine. Here's the generic warning across most of the movies on their preview screen. This program includes negative depictions or mistreatment of people or cultures. These stereotypes were wrong then, and they are wrong now. Rather than remove this content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and spark conversations to create a more inclusive future together. It kind of sounds like they're actually saying, we used to be racist and this stuff is still racist, but instead of taking it down, we're just admitting we're racist, and we hope this sparks a conversation between us.
No, it's that cultural norms have changed and they're just trying to adapt with the times. It's kind of like just like the bare minimum these woke corporations can do. That's all there is to it.
Take Lady and the Tramp, for example. This apparently needs a warning because the Siamese cats perpetuate Asian stereotypes. Now, I watched this as a kid, and I don't recall thinking negatively of Siamese people.
Yeah, I watched it as a kid too, and at the time I didn't understand it. I just thought it was hilarious. The song is now stuck in my head just based on the fact that you brought it up. I've got the song in my head right now. That doesn't mean that it's not offensive.
Siam hasn't even been a country for like 100 years, and the only place you're going to come across it is on the board game Risk, and I think kids are going to be okay on this one.
We are Siamese, if you please.
The same goes for Peter Pan. It allegedly portrays Native people in a stereotypical manner that reflects neither the diversity of Native peoples nor their authentic cultural traditions. Maybe that makes sense, but the only thing I found really offensive was Robin Williams' performance in the movie version of this.
Cool. Cool. All right. Okay. As a white guy, I'm not offended. So what the fuck? Why don't all you just sort your shit out? Like, come on. Well, what's the problem here? I don't see it.
Oh, there you are, Peter.
Well,
Now,
I
of
want to
course,
watch this
Aladdin
movie.
is on there as well, not because of Will Smith as Genie, but probably because of the whole flying carpets thing. But in some certain cases, you have to agree that there is blatant racism that may be warranting a warning. Take Dumbo, for example. It's from 19...
Hey, this is interesting. So this is the Overton window, by the way, because this is basically like Canada's answer to InfoWars. That's what Rebel News is. So if there's a point now where he's like, well, we agree, then that's the shift. That's the paradigm shift. Like, that's a little victory.
Whether it's the Black Crow singing and dancing with one actually named Jim Crow.
Man, this stuff is so imprinted in my brain. Like, every single one of these Disney songs. Like, I just hear a couple seconds of it and immediately I'm like, oh wow, I want to listen to this whole thing.
To this scene where black workers are faceless and are quite literally building a railroad while they sing about wasting their money.
We work all day, we work all night, we never time to read or write.
Seriously, what were they thinking on that one?
But like, I don't get it. How does he recognize that? And then at the same time, the Siamese song, he's like, well, yeah, but that Siam doesn't even exist anymore, bro. Okay, it's not like you're reinforcing Asian stereotypes by that song. I mean, come on, you know, that one's fine. Country doesn't exist anymore. But I guess, yeah, black people still exist. So that one's bad.
Now, believe it or not, Disney is not the first studio to put a warning like this. Warner Brothers also had one for the cartoon.
Yeah,
Tom and
Zeron's a great
Jerry,
channel. We watched this
saying
video
they
on
may
Mulan.
depict some of the ethnic and racial prejudices that were commonplace in American society. What do you think? Are these trigger warnings necessary, or do you think they're overkill? Maybe a bit of both?
First off, they're not trigger warnings. Stop using that word. It's infuriating how they always misplace that.
Or is the real lesson here that Disney was or is pretty racist and they're confessing it? Let us know in the comments.
It's like, it's cultural awareness. It's basically like, hey, by the way, this is pretty fucked up. We admit it's fucked up, and so we just want you to be aware that, you know, we're also aware. So we're woke capitalists. That's all it is. But it's not as if they're trying to say, by the way, if you have PTSD, this may be damaging to you. So to anyone who's experienced things like assault or something of that nature, we just want to warn you about that. That's what a trigger warning would be, but they don't use that correctly. But yeah, Rebel News, Canada's answer to InfoWars, in case you were wondering. They do a lot of fucked up shit, by the way. This is them investigating a BC blockade, and I have another one. They do even grosser shit, where they actually go to like homeless camps and try to get people evicted. Like, I don't even think InfoWars does that. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think InfoWars does that. Tin City, yeah.
Is there not
Like, InfoWars doesn't do this, right?
shelter space for you in the city?
Nothing. We call, they
Trying so
say
bad.
every hour and a half.
Like yesterday, some guys passed through the encampment that didn't like tents,
Yeah.
and they broke the poles that
We're
were on the tent.
constantly being
Yeah, so I,
things
only
have been
because I'm a
stolen.
MacGyver guy.
It's very dangerous out here.
Oh, this is a private camp. Oh, okay. You have a permit. You have a deed. You do.
We are allowed to be here.
On whose authority, ma'am?
It is illegal for the City of Toronto to evict anyone in a camp in any public park in all of Toronto. There's currently a park case, and you are aware of that. So
That's right. There's a constitutional challenge, but
Again, like, just like untold levels of evil. It's untold levels of evil. Going in here, fucking wearing a cowboy hat, alright. Just showing up and then going from, like, you know, tent to tent, being like, who gave you the permission to be here? Who said you could do this? What on whose authority are you living? Shouldn't you be in a jail somewhere?
ostensibly there are several sections of the Trespass Act being broken here. Is there not?
I've been on the housing list for 15 years and waiting for wheelchair accessible housing. Are you going to find it for me?
Those are the security guards, by the way.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. And folks, before I get to my story, please, if you can, go to journalistdefensefund.com. If you're able to make a donation, it would be greatly appreciated. Sometimes we have to pay lawyers, sometimes it's bodyguards, but it's worth it when it comes to bringing you the other side of the story. Folks, you may recall our coverage going back to June, in which we were looking at the ongoing occupation of Toronto Parkland and even the city square, Nathan Phillips Square, by squatters. It began back in June, as I said, with a group called Afro-Indigenous Rising. That was some activist group that decided they were going to, break 11 sections of the Trespass Act and camp out at Nathan Phillips Square. And I can tell you, this was no peaceful camp out. Check it out. Folks, welcome to John Tory's Toronto. Hey, get off me.
It's the same guy.
Don't slap my hand away again, I'll break it.
What do you mean?
Huh?
Is that a threat?
I will trespass you.
So, by the way, this is the Andy No style of journalism, where it's like, hey, this was not a peaceful camp. If you can see the footage of me shoving a hockey stick with a microphone in their faces and them responding to them, like, you'll see for yourself. Just check it out. The footage speaks.
I need you to stay back.
Give me a hug! Give me a hug! I love you! I love you! Oh, I love you! Don't run away from love! Don't run away from love! Don't run away from love! Oh, don't run away from love!
Yeah, so that was quite
So based. I love that.
remarkable, especially the idea of City
Don't
Hall
run away from
security
love.
basically blaming us for being, instigators in terms of practicing journalism as opposed
You motherfuckers, that's not journalism. Journalism is not a hockey stick with a microphone as you shove it in people's faces where they're living and ask, why are you here? Get out, get out. That's not journalism.
The people in the square breaking all those sections of the Trespass Act. Well, I can tell you after 3 weeks of that nonsense, they were finally removed by police and security, but like whack-a-mole, they just went north in the city and set up camp.
Like whack-a-mole. Oh, these goddamn pores. These pores, they just keep popping up all over the place. No matter what I do, there's just more pores.
At Toronto's Dufferin Grove Park, they commandeered the public washroom, used the electricity and the plumbing. They wouldn't let normal park goers use the loo. And, well, finally, after weeks of that nonsense, they were removed. And yes, we went to cover the, well, the authorities basically taking out the trash. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm just reading your breast. What is that?
I gotta say, I mean, that's a little bit better than Alex Jones. He kind of says the quiet part's loud, so you know. I mean, it's not even dog whistles. It's just like, yeah, taking out the trash. Like, again, I despise the pores.
It says no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
It's not on behalf of anybody else.
It's not necessarily helping the situation because this is what they're here to do. They can't use any of this footage anyway.
Did I trigger you?
Get out of here. Get out. Get out. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Get the f*** out of my face.
You have white skin. You're always occupying every f***ing space in this.
This is like Jacob Wool levels, eh? Jacob Wool levels of editing with that music in the background. Boom, 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 boom. Dun, 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 dun. Here come the poor people. Boom, 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 boom. Dun, 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 dun.
So there's been peace at Dufferin Grove Park, but a few days ago we went there to check out the park grounds, and oh, lo and behold, like mushrooms after a heavy rainfall, they're back. The squatters in those tents, and basically our agenda,
like, again, just not hiding it at all. Like, mushrooms after a rainfall.
are these just de rigueur homeless people, or are they also the members of Afro-Indigenous Rising back for a third round? Here's how our visit went. Is there not shelter space for you in the city?
Nothing. We call, they
so
say
bad.
every hour and a half.
Like yesterday, some guys passed through the encampment that didn't like tents, and they broke the poles that were on the tent.
Constantly being
Yeah, so you know, only because I'm a MacGyver guy.
It's very dangerous out here.
Hey, thanks, political puppy.
And people are actually taking bits and pieces that, I mean, it's kind of, you know, if you're poor and someone else is poor, you don't go and steal their stuff. You steal someone that might have something.
We got no support whatsoever. Like my tent yesterday was laying on the ground. It was raining out. She's got asthma, and I couldn't get help from nobody. Nobody.
And there's no space at shelters, is there? Because
whatsoever.
I'm just wondering, ma'am. My name's David Menzies.
Oh, wow. And cut to the next scene, because, yeah, you don't have to explore that one. Like, why exactly are you all living in tents in this public property? Like, why are you whack-a-moles popping up all over the place? Like, you fungus? You goddamn trash? Why do you keep doing this? Because we have nowhere to live. Well, is there nowhere else for you to live?
I'm with Rebel News. I'm just wondering what this encampment is about. It's do you mind if we have a conversation, or
What do you want to talk about?
Oh, okay. I'm wondering, are you people part of Afro-Indigenous Rising who were occupying the park earlier?
No.
I support them.
No. Go
you support them?
your business.
No, this is
No.
just three of us that are homeless.
This is a private camp. This was a private camp.
Oh, this is a private camp.
But are you not associated with this one organization that I'm trying to vilify? Oh, you support them. Oh, you show support for other groups that are being marginalized. Well, there it is. You got it.
Oh, okay. You have a permit. You have a deed. You do.
We are allowed to be here.
Oh, on whose authority, ma'am?
It is illegal for the City of Toronto to evict anyone in a camp in any public park in all of Toronto that's currently park cased, and you are aware of that. So
That's right. There's a constitutional challenge, but ostensibly there are several sections of the Trespass Act being broken here. Is there not?
I've been on the housing list for 15 years and waiting for wheelchair accessible housing. Are you going to find it for me?
I'm sorry to hear about that wait time, ma'am. I really am. But I mean,
I can't go in the shelters because I have myalgic encephalomyelitis. I've had it for 27 years, and that's an autoimmune disease. So you find me housing.
now, folks, I have a...
Whoa. Whoa. Well, there you have it. That's pretty much it. And I know, of course, we cut to the next scene because there's no response to that. But that's it. I'm just going to repeat that one more time in case anyone missed it.
I've been on the housing list for 15 years and waiting for wheelchair accessible housing. Are you going to find
The housing list for 15 years waiting for wheelchair accessible housing. So this is someone on disability who, yes, lives on the street as a result of not having socially available housing.
I'm sorry to hear about that wait time, ma'am. I really am. But I mean,
I can't go in the shelters because I have myalgic esophagitis. I've had it for 27 years, and that's an autoimmune disease. So you find me housing.
now, folks, I have a happy epilogue to report. Well, not that those squatters have been evicted, but no, a couple of days after.
So clearly he learned a lot from these, you know? It's the same thing. It's basically like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, that's oof. Tragedy. Yeah, I know. Single tear going down my face now with that music. Do, do, do. Do, do. But anyways, onto these squatters, these filthy vermin. We have to wash them from our streets and purge and cleanse.
Toronto court ruled that, if you can believe it, yes, the city has the right to evict squatters from its parkland. Amazingly, a few weeks ago, some activist groups and 14 homeless actually made a constitutional challenge saying that the city had absolutely no mandate to evict homeless people. Now, had the city lost this case, well, the Trespass Act wouldn't be valid anymore. And what you see in the parks today would be a mere prelude to what would be, oh, I don't know, the kind of situation you have with tent cities in such sanctuary cities as Los Angeles, Portland, and Seattle. So thankfully, some sanity from a court that.
Yeah, another great victory for the upper class. Oof, a rare win for the rich. Damn, they've had a hard go of it. But yeah, no, finally, something's finally going in their favor. So that's good. You know what's weird about this, though? And it's the same thing with all the right-wingers in the U.S. All the, your Ben Shapiro's, your Joe Rogans, all of them who have been like, I'm leaving L.A. I got to move out of L.A. There's so many bums. There's so many, or Alex Jones, who's like, yeah, it all smells like piss. What are we supposed to do with all these fucking homeless people? Instead of addressing this, well, why don't you do something about that? The solution to all of this is not to keep pushing them away or to keep trying to find, I don't know, some kind of ditch for you to sweep them into. That's not going to solve the homeless crisis. Like, you're just making things worse. You're vilifying people who have nothing, basically. Give them fucking homes. Give them housing. Call it a radical idea, but it seems to work in every other major city that's tried it.
That yes, the city can indeed evict those who are camping out overnight in our parks. Finally, some sanity when it comes to giving the parks back to honest, law-abiding taxpayers. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.
David the Menzoid. What does that even mean? I'm a Menzoid, y'all.
Hey, we want to mutual aid you to get some eyeballs on your work. So if you have a leftist YouTube channel or Twitch stream or something you want us to advertise, just send us a 20 to 30 second ad using the forums at weareserfs.com. We'll do our best to help you out. And please submit once per channel.
To our gods, Unwrapped, and Xander Forbes, we shall build temples in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we live to do your bidding. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Trevor R., Stephen, Nine Tails Cosmic Fox, Hans Josephine, Poppy Nelson, Ryan Lubin, Jimothy K. Meeble Beeps Jr., we bow meekly for your pleasure. And to our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Bite, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Political Puppy, Ali Menthal, Jimmy Big Nuts, Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Then, Dr. Zayas, Joppy, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Jack Darko, Thomas Barretton, J. Fraser Cartwright, Goofalankius, Melissa Murphy, Nicholas Marks, Alexander Thaler, Ramon Acosta, and Ali Retta Jaffer. We salute you. Love you all. Peace.